from Peace News Now Studios. Just wrapped up Free Talk Live, and as a matter of fact, the last subject that we touched upon was about the green beam and some activism taking place here in New Hampshire through some activists who moved to New Hampshire for more freedom, and the video is posted to freekeen.com. I'll be showing a clip from that, but I want to welcome our guests here this evening. Our Bill Dominico is with us. Say hello, Bill. Bill was one of the individuals using the laser to spread peace propaganda on the 4th of July. And also, Bill Walker is with us. Thanks for being with us, Bill. All right, so it's Bill and Bill on the line, right? All right, terrific. And so for folks who aren't familiar, the green beam is a tool for activism that has been used several times throughout the state. And we're going to get to that in a bit. This is a live call-in show, so if you have questions for our guests, you can join us in the chat room at peacenewsnow.com/live. You'll see a chat room built right into the webpage, and you can ask questions there. I will read them to our guests, or you can call into the show. Our number is Hi-Fi Civ Dis. That's 443-424-8347, and you can get your call in that way. Our Skype line is currently occupied by our guests, but feel free to call in our Hi-Fi Civ Dis number. This show focuses on peaceful resistance around the globe. Typically, it happens in New Hampshire, so that's what we're focusing on today. And Bill and Bill, it's very good to be with you. So tell us what happened on the 4th of July. You produced this video of you using a laser. What was that all about?
Anything, and then I remembered that the fireworks had been postponed, and that they were actually happening on the 5th instead of the 4th. And I thought, if I rush, I can get down there and set up. So we decided to do that. Bill was here with me, and I asked him if he'd come along, and he said yes. And we got all the stuff in the car and headed down there. And we were trying to scope out a location, and you know, we wanted to make sure that if we did it, that everybody who was down there could see it. It's usually quite a crowd, and I wanted to get the message out that people were basically being lulled into a false sense of well-being by these, you know, nationalistic rituals that the state was putting on for them again this year.
So, how do you think it went? How did it go, in your opinion?
Well, it went okay. We both lived through it. We didn't get arrested. Nobody beat us up. We weren't attacked. We got some verbal abuse, as you could probably hear in the video. There was a handful of people who, when we first turned it on, said, "Shut that off," or "Why are you doing that here? Why not do it in your backyard? How about any other day except today?" You know, those kinds of things. But that was very sporadic, and for the most part, everybody left us alone during the bulk of the demonstration.
So how do you respond to criticism like that? Well, why didn't you just do it in your backyard, Bill?
Well, someone asked that, and Bill intelligently responded, because doing it in your backyard doesn't accomplish anything. The whole idea of doing that was to get the message out that it's not the 4th of July. The entire world has the 4th of July. Why we're celebrating it is because it's Independence Day. And also to sort of highlight, what exactly does that mean? What is Independence Day? What are we celebrating? And so you can't do that in your backyard. You've got to do it in front of 20,000 people.
Yeah, I agree. How many activists were participating in this event?
During the main portion of what we were doing, it was pretty much just me and Bill.
And how many people do you think saw your messages?
I don't know, 10, 15,000. It wasn't as big a crowd as normally. Normally it's probably in the 20-plus range.
But that's still, for two activists, that's a lot of bang for your buck.
Right, which is why I really wanted to do it. I have to tell you, I was fairly nervous. I think we both were when we got there.
Why were you nervous?
Because we were like, I wasn't planning on picking a location that was, basically smack dab in the middle of everybody. I was trying to find a location. I was hoping to find a location that was more remote, maybe on the riverbank, on the other side of the river, where no one would be like right in our immediate vicinity. We'd be somewhat protected, if you will.
Well, I mean, also, if you watch the video, it's pretty obvious why we were nervous, because we knew exactly what was likely to happen. And at one point, we were surrounded by probably 5 to 8 police officers of various different agencies, and we weren't really sure where things were going to go at that point.
Well, how did the police respond?
Well, at first, you got the obnoxious first sergeant that came over and started giving me the quiz treatment of, what am I doing? I've seen a lot of things. I think he told me I've seen a lot of things, but I've never seen anything like that. Actually, I think an undercover cop came over first, because a fellow came over and he got up close to the tripod and he was giving it the eyeball, and he's saying, I don't know what that is. What are you guys doing? And we says, you'll see. And he's asking us if we're part of the show and what are we going to project. And he was asking just too many questions to be an ordinary person.
Very
when
interesting.
He left, he went directly over to 2 cops. And then that's when we had our first cop encounter.
So how did you treat these individuals? I saw you were video recording. There was a lot of great redundant video, which is an excellent thing to do. I noticed both Bills, you were all recording. Some of you had multiple devices recording. So when you were piecing this video together, which people can find at freekeen.com, you can see from multiple angles. Sometimes you even replay an interaction with one of the police officers. Great accountability on all sides there.
Right. Bill was recording from a tablet, and I was recording from a handheld camera. And when he started asking me a lot of questions, I decided I didn't want to answer any of his questions. You heard that on the video, and he says something to the effect of, "Oh, so you're going to play that game?" And then he immediately tried to escalate it by asking me my name, and I didn't answer him. And that's when I pulled out my camera. Bill was already recording, but I pulled out mine, and when he saw mine is when he said he didn't want to have his picture taken, and obviously that wasn't enough to stop me from doing it.
Isn't that strange? Were you surprised when the police officer said that he didn't want his picture taken?
Not really. Not all of them understand what the law is on that matter, and frankly, I'd be happy to get arrested for taking a police officer's picture, because we all know what the outcome would be.
Right. I mean, they are public servants, or at least they claim to be. They're paid for by public tax dollars. As far as I'm concerned, on the job, on the record.
Indeed, I feel the same way, and most of them know that, but you get the occasional one who, even though they may or may not know that, they still, they want to control you. That's what it's all about.
Now, what about the submitisons? Did you have any conflicts with them?
The submitisons, that's good. Well, yeah. We were pretty close to people. There was people within 6 feet of us on all sides, pretty much, and I wasn't really paying much attention to them because I was concentrating on what I was doing, but I could hear comments like, shut it off and go home, or why you're doing this, and a few things like that when we first started, and then they stopped.
Bill, you're turning people off. You're going to scare them away from liberty.
Well, actually, he was turning a lot of people on as well, because, as soon as the fireworks went off when we turned on the laser, we had one woman come over to complain, but at exactly the same time, we had a couple sitting right behind us, and they were saying, "Great job, we're really glad you showed up here. It's about time that, somebody was doing this. We're really proud of you. You're a good American." So there was a lot of, split ideologically between a lot of people in the crowd.
That's very interesting. Yeah, it seems to be that perhaps in the video, those who were the loudest were the detractors, but there may be many others who were quieter about their congratulations and their appreciation. We're going to come back and we're going to play some clips from these interactions. There's one woman who you won't believe. This is Peace News Now.
This is the central scrutinizer.
All right. So that went very well. Thank you, guys. We've got one more segment coming up in 4 minutes. I'll be playing a clip from, the woman who gets all mad at you, and I want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
Okay.
Plus, your fundraiser, still ongoing, right?
Absolutely.
Yep, still ongoing. It's been, frankly, between you and I, it's been a little bit of a disappointment. But,
Hey, wait, hey, because we're not broadcasting on LRN.FM, but we are still on YouTube, so anything that you want to say that's confidential, you'll have to text me on Skype.
Gotcha, okay.
But I am glad to hear that the fundraiser is still ongoing. You do have a website for that, so I'll be sure to pull up all the links and I'll put them in the show notes. And hopefully we can get some Bitcoin donations coming in, because that's the easiest way to pay.
It is.
And it's a free market developed currency, so yay for that. All right, I'll put the ads on and we'll be back in exactly 3 minutes.
The government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.lrn.fm. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit the Liberty Radio Network when you shop at Amazon via shop.lrn.fm. Ross Ulbricht was arrested by the FBI in 2013 and charged with victimless crimes in relation to allegedly operating the Bitcoin-based Silk Road black market. He has been in a prison cell awaiting trial ever since. If he did it, he's a hero for making the black market a safer place. If he did not, he's a man wrongfully accused. Either way, if you love freedom and want to end the war on drugs, Ross and his family need your support. You can learn more and help fund his defense at freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Did you know that you can listen to LRN.FM 24/7 via our free-to-air satellite channel? From Mexico to Canada, our signal covers nearly all of North America. All you need is a view of the southern sky, an affordable receiver, and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you're a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage map and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm.
Do you ever say, I could care less, when you really mean the opposite? You mean to say, I couldn't care less. It's a common mistake. You are judged by how you speak, especially if you're looking for work, with so many more applicants than openings now. But even if you're not, avoiding common misstatements will help you make the most of the dozens of actions that crowd your daily routine. As a single word sentence, it's the most annoying expression in the American English language, according to a recent poll. And avoid cliches like the plague. Just kidding. But seriously, at the end of the day, you'll want to avoid this scenario sounding like everyone else. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not...
Hey, Bills, we're about to come back. Do you have any idea where in the video that lady is? Like midway, half, three-quarters?
I think maybe 12 minutes. Hold on, I can probably find it.
Thank you. Welcome back. This is Peace News Now. We are live this Tuesday, July 8th, 2014, broadcasting from Keene in the Shire. I'm speaking with Bill Walker and Bill Dominico. They recently produced a video that you can find at freekeene.com. It's still up there on the front page, or you can find it on YouTube under the username Live Free or Die. Great username, by the way. And Bill is running a fundraiser for a new laser, so we're going to talk about that. But first, I want to play a clip from the video where a woman is having a real serious altercation, a serious interaction with the Bills here. And let's play that clip now.
My night. That's all I'm saying. That's disgusting.
Good evening.
My husband fought 9 years in the Army, so right there.
Nice talking to you, ma'am.
There it is.
So this woman is saying, my husband fought in the Army, and this is disgusting. But here's another man who says, "Can I ask you guys what you're about?" So, what was that woman's problem? What was her issue, Bill?
She kept saying, I think she starts around 10:20 in the video, and she started saying, why are we doing this on Independence Day?
Oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna back the clip up. Let's listen to her say that here. Here's the video. He's broadcasting messages like CIA.
I don't need a gun to protect myself. I have my hammer.
Don't. That's why you're not.
I'm free. I'm free. Listen, I'm not getting arrested for stupid shit. No, this is bullshit.
What happens if you don't pay your taxes?
I don't pay taxes right now because I don't have a job.
You don't pay taxes?
So I don't need to pay a tax. I don't work.
But some of
My husband fought in the army for freedom. This pisses me off.
Yeah? Your husband saved for my freedom?
This is not right to do it on Independence Day.
But it's
That's why it's not. You can do this every other damn day. Protest every other day. Give us a break. My husband did 9 years in the army, not for this shit.
He wasted his life.
No, he didn't. He loves his country. If you don't love it, move the hell out.
I do love it. That's why I'm here.
Move the hell out if you don't like the United States.
I do love the United States. That's why I'm here.
You know what? You're in the office. If you think you're better than everybody else that's in office,
I don't think I'm better than anybody else.
That's why I'm over here telling you what I think.
Hit a nerve, huh?
That's why
you don't
I'm
like
over
freedom,
here.
do you?
Yeah, now the cops are over here. You're ruining my night. That's all I'm saying. That's disgusting.
Good evening.
My husband fought 9 years in the army, so right there.
Nice talking to you, ma'am.
So you ruined her night, Bills. What do you have to say for yourselves?
Job well done. Lots of people, I think, who need their nights ruined because they're completely living in an entirely different world. We have all of these wars that we're fighting, and it's pretty unfortunate, I think, that her husband's been in the army and probably away from her for 9 whole years. We can argue philosophically about, what all these wars are about, but they certainly weren't fighting for freedom, at least not our freedom.
Yeah, that is tragic. Did you think it was odd that she said, not on Independence Day?
It was ironic.
Yeah, I mean, there should be more restrictions on what freedoms you can exercise on Independence Day, of course. What?
Exactly. It's quite ridiculous.
Yeah, that was pretty absurd. So she was clearly emotional about the messages you were sending. Do you think that she was rational? She could be reached at all? I mean, you started just to say, good night, ma'am. Have a good night. Nice talking to you. I think that's the best way to end it, probably. But then you had other folks who came up to you and were more receptive. Tell us about those interactions.
We had one gentleman who came right after we started and took his cell phone camera and started recording the whole thing and narrating it, and he kept at it for the whole hour and a half or so that we were there.
Wow.
And kept telling people, do your homework, people. So he was our a #1 early supporter. And then at the end, it was like the good people were now free to come out because all the sheeple had left the field. It was just like that kind of thing. All these people started inching over to us, and then when they felt it was safe, and they started telling us, how can we get involved, and what is this about, and why are you trying to put this message out, and what can we do, and where can we meet?
Wow, that's kind of cool. It seems to me like there's the ancient angry, violent cavemen who have no rational thought, just respond to emotions. And then there's the rational thinking people who are aware that there are violent ones out there and they have to wait for them to get their episodes over with. And then they can come out and say, all right, how do we organize? How do we get effective? And you've been so effective with this green beam, but I'm curious, don't you face criticism from other activists? I mean, I get it all the time. I think anyone who's doing something that makes an impact is going to get criticism from both sides. You're going to get criticism saying that you're turning people off. Did you get any criticism from fellow activists?
I understand there was a couple of things on Facebook that we could have done differently. I think one person that we know said to the effect of that he doesn't know if it was a good thing to interrupt people's entertainment value of the fireworks. maybe we should have did it after the fireworks or just before the fireworks.
Yeah, but then no one's going to see it. There are more people during the fireworks.
I think that it was important to get the message out when the crowd was there.
I agree.
We certainly could have handled that woman a little nicer.
Well, and it made a great visual to be able to see the messages right under the fireworks. I mean, I can almost hear the music in my head, and the flag was still there, or something like that, you know, and then it's got like CIA, metadata, FBI, all these government alphabet organizations. So real quick, we've got 2 minutes left. Tell us about the fundraiser that you're doing.
Okay, so what happened was at Porcfest recently, I sold the green bean. I put it up for sale, and a fairly well-known in Ohio activist purchased it, and he's going to use it for their purposes in Ohio.
Awesome.
Right? Probably checkpoints and things like that.
Oh, that's perfect. That was some of the initial usages of the laser.
Right, just like we do, and so that provided me with about 2/3 of the money that I would need to make Green Bean 2.0, if you will, which would be considerably more powerful and be full color and have better graphics. So we'd be able to do better messaging to people.
So you build this? You can build one of these things? I mean,
yes, yeah, I built that one, and I'm planning to build another one.
Earlier on Free Talk Live, we were talking about the possibility of printing a 3D printable semi-automatic .22 rifle designed after the Ruger 1022. I don't know if you've seen on Reason.com the article about this new design, but that sounds like something that you might be interested in toying around with. I know that you've toyed around with 3D printing in the past. Give us the link or website or email address that people should use to donate to you.
Okay, if they want to donate by PayPal, they can send it to bill@resunltd4u.com. If they go to the video on YouTube, see my
Peace News Now. We'll be right back.
A meme is not easy to define.
All right, sorry about that, Bill. I'm going to mute the ads and go ahead with those addresses. This will still go out over YouTube, and I'll be able to put them in the show notes.
Okay, yeah, I really can't give out the Bitcoin address. That'd be too.
Oh no, yeah, that would be impossible. But people can find that Bitcoin address both in the description of the video itself and at freekeen.com.
Yes.
Very good. Well, that's terrific. Is there anything that we missed that I can cover when I come back? I'm going to be joined by Davi Barker of ShinyBadges.com. I believe I only slated this for a half an hour. Is that right? I don't want to hold you too long.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I think you said 10 to 11, but it's fine. Whatever you want to do.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can do 10 to 11. I just didn't know what I had slated you for. There was John Connell or something, because I would like to speak with him about the Grafton Peaceful Assembly Church. Yeah, I heard the Port 411 this morning, and thought that would be something worth talking about if we could get him on, but I haven't heard back yet. We could still talk about that, though. I don't know.
Sure. The only thing else that I can, think of mentioning is, our really good interaction with the good cop, one who appeared good anyway. I definitely think that it's important to kind of point out and appreciate and recognize him for, his attitude, his kindness, his politeness, his willingness, not to hassle us, because it's important that we, as much as we don't want to have the police, it's important that we keep it populated with the good police. Otherwise, all we're going to have is the bad police.
Boy, that's a great point. When we come back, yeah, if you can stick around for another segment, I would like to talk about the good cop. Do you know about where he is? He's like 15 minutes in or something.
He is quite early, I believe.
Oh, he's early.
Yeah, he's maybe 5 minutes or so.
I'll tell you where he is.
Okay, excellent.
A little after that. Right. Keep going.
Right after the Port 411.
You'll see you sitting, and then
there it is, right there.
No, that's too early because you're sitting there.
I'm giving the handshake.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, right around the 3-minute mark.
3 minutes. Okay.
Yep.
Just after that, like 3:01 or something. But 3 minutes is good.
I'm gonna get it queued up here.
Guys, how are you? Great.
That's it.
Okay, we're ready on that. And we'll be back in 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Good.
I'm going to put ads back on and mute you guys, and we'll be back in a minute.
Further, I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Listen, you've heard the commercials before. Whether you owe $15,000 or $15 million in tax debt to the IRS or state, we can help. On a never-ending payment plan, penalties and interest killing you, missing tax returns, being garnished or levied, not a problem. If you qualify, we can remove levies and garnishments within days or even hours of hiring our firm. If you've been summoned, or even worse, receiving tax warrants in the mail, call right now. Are you a business owner with back payroll taxes? Is the IRS or state threatening to close your business you've worked so hard to build? Protect yourself and your business. Even if you've tried in the past, new guidelines could potentially qualify you today. So what are you waiting for? We can take that tax monkey off your back.
Call the Tax Monkey now. 800-281-6030. 800-281-6030. 800-281-6030. That's 800-281-6030.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
We reconvene on Peace News Now. We're live talking with Bill Dominico and Bill Walker, who are some activists in the Manchester, New Hampshire area. They had a lot of interactions on July 5th, the night of fireworks in Manchester. Probably a smaller crowd than they would have expected on the 4th. I guess it got rained out because of the inclement weather. But in a 20-minute video, they've got interactions with people who don't like their laser and their messages, people who are curious and want to know more, and some cops who are doing some undercover investigating, it seems like, some cops who were aggressive and intimidating. And then they had this interaction with a friendlier police officer.
Happy 4th.
Hey, you too. Happy Independence Day. What's your name? Vincent. Hey, Vincent. Bill. Bill? Bill. Nice to meet you, Bill. Good crowd, huh? About 75% of what we expected. I'm surprised how small it is. Yeah. Well, it's the weekend, you know. Really? You don't mind being on the weekend? It's a weekend? That's why nobody's here? Yeah. It's supposed to be on Thursday. And we had a much bigger crowd. Well, that's great. At least it makes getting out of here easier. Hope so. Hope so.
It's a little hard to hear, but they're talking about how it's a smaller crowd than they would have expected.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And you're not being offensive?
No, no, sir. Thank you. It's all about being a good neighbor. Did you talk to my buddy, the captain? Which captain? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He knows me, though.
Cunha?
Cunha.
Got it. Well, he's gone. He retired.
He retired?
Yeah, he retired a couple years ago, didn't he? No.
No.
Oh, I thought he was supposed to retire a couple months ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I like that.
So you can see everyone's casual, making chit-chat,
Sometimes
at ease.
that I don't want to generalize.
I tell people, it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Yes, exactly. You guys are fighting for people's rights. I'm all for it. I mean, police officers are all for people's rights. I mean, that's what we do. It's good to get people's rights. So, glad to hear it.
You get my word, there's nothing offensive.
That's a primary job, is to
There's
enforce the Constitution, right?
Nothing offensive on here at all. Thank you.
Someday some people might look at you as
Hopefully you will.
How did people look at John Adams?
I don't know. They wouldn't look at him favorably. You know what the FBI says about John Adams now? I said, you know what the FBI says about John Adams now?
And all of them, they were patriots. We view them as patriots now, but back then, there were people who viewed them as
Indeed.
a lot of people.
Right.
So let's end on that note where the officer says people look at John Adams as a patriot now, but back in the day they thought he was a nuisance. What did you think about that officer's comments?
I frankly was amazed. I mean, the entire time that I was interacting with this guy, I was trying not to have my jaw drop on the concrete. He's telling us that, good to hear it. You guys are fighting for people's rights. That's what the police are for. That's our primary job, is to enforce the Constitution. And I was like, what spaceship dropped you off?
Yeah. Do you think that he was he knew what he was getting into? He was like, all right, these are the activists, the freedom people. I'm just going to drop some friendly conversation on them, and then maybe they'll like me. I don't know. Is this like a PR stunt? What was this about?
I mean, it's always hard to tell, but definitely I can probably say with 90+% certainty that they knew exactly who we were, because they came right over, they left, and then we were back and seemed to just know kind of what the deal was.
You started off talking about one of the police chiefs, and you were asking if he was still around. What was that conversation about?
That was Captain Cunha, and he was a supervisor. He was the fellow that gave me the ticket and threatened to take the laser away from me a couple of checkpoint actions ago, which is also documented on video. And I became friendly with him because very shortly after I got the ticket, within a few days, the police department sent me a letter recalling the ticket, essentially saying that they weren't going to go for prosecution on the non-permitted lighted sign ordinance that they were trying to get me on for having the laser. And then when he saw me the next time we did a checkpoint, he actually came over to me and called me by name, and we had a little chat, and he apologized for having to write the ticket, and that he was sorry that he did it, but I reminded him that he was still threatening to take my laser if I didn't comply.
Right. I think it's important to remind these officers, as friendly as they can be with their cordial language, at the end of the day, if they're still willing to arrest you over free speech, then they are being criminals, and it's just important to remind them of that fact. Hey, so you're building a new laser. The green beam is now infamous. It's made several rounds on YouTube, viral videos of you using these at police checkpoints to tell drivers to turn away from the DUI checkpoints, warning them of upcoming speed traps, and having several confrontations with police over this free speech issue. Now you're building a new laser, bigger, better in color, better graphics. Is this something that you would suggest other people do?
I would definitely suggest other people do.
And if you can, get yourself a little bit closer to your microphone so that we can pick up your voice a little better.
How's that?
We can hear you.
Okay. So yes, I would suggest that other activists around the country do it. There's complete plans on how to do it that I wrote last year for Freedom's Phoenix, so they could find the plans on how to do it, including where to get the parts for a green beam like the one I have that we just sold. I wouldn't say they have to go much bigger than that to start out with.
How much does it cost to build one of these things?
They could probably build one today for about $1,500.
And how long do they last? How far do they broadcast?
I've had mine for since Ron Paul campaign 2012, so it's been going pretty good for 2 years.
And does it need like a recharge? How's it powered?
It's powered by a battery or AC power. It does not have a recharge. You can consider it sort of like a light bulb. It will have a finite lifetime, maybe on the order of 5,000 hours or something like that.
Okay, makes sense, but still plenty of time for fun. Now, changing gears a little bit, and folks can donate to your new green beam or color beam project. They can find the link over at freekeen.com, and I'll also have the link in the show notes at peacenewsnow.com. But changing gears a little bit, Bill, you've inspired me because you were one of the first people I knew who printed a Liberator. I think you were, in fact, the second Liberator to be printed in the wild, so to speak. And now there's a new 3D printed semi-automatic 22. I'm wondering if you have any word on the prints.
I haven't looked them up online. My guess is that they're probably available, especially if that fellow just printed it. And I saw the video, and He shows the drawing, so it looks like a detailed drawing, and I haven't perused it myself yet.
Yeah, but I was impressed by the video. It shows multiple shots being fired, I think 10 shots being fired from the same gun. It's a 3D printed barrel and a 3D printed, what's called... No?
No, I have to correct that. No, the barrel is not 3D printed. It's a regular metal barrel. And in fact, the trigger group is metal. The only thing that he's claiming to be 3D printed is the receiver portion, the part that looks fluorescent green in the video.
Well, that makes a whole lot more sense, and I'm glad you corrected me on that, because looking at the picture, a lot of the pieces of this gun, and I will show a visual for those who are watching at home and on YouTube, this gun, it doesn't look very 3D printed. It looks like it's got a wood stock. It looks like it's got maybe a plastic trigger and the top, but even the trigger could be metal. The barrel looks metal. So is this because it could fire off more than 30 rounds? You want to make sure that the barrel doesn't explode?
Well, yeah, you just can't make a 3D printed barrel that's going to last like that.
Well, do you think this is in our future? Are we going to be seeing more 3D printed semi-automatic weapons?
Yes, definitely.
All right. Well, it's been Bill Walker and Bill Dominico. I want to thank you guys so much for being on Peace News Now.
Enjoyed it.
All right, rock on. We'll be back talking with Davi Barker.
Take to change a light bulb.
Okay, hey guys, that was awesome. Thanks so much for being on. We are finished that segment, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
Okay, thank you. Anytime, any topic.
Okay, Bill. Well, that's great
If you
info.
talk to Cell 7, tell her we said hi. Tell her I said hi, will you?
Yeah, I will. I just booted her out. She jumped in on the conversation because I did invite her to be a co-host tonight, but not in the first segment with the interview and everything. She looked like she was out having a good time.
Yeah, I know she does your show with you occasionally. I haven't seen her in a long time. Just tell her I said hi.
I will. Thanks, Bill.
Okay.
All right.
See you soon.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Okay, and that does open up our Skype line, so if you have thoughts that you'd like to share, you can call in via Skype at Peace News Now, that's all one word, or call in on our telephone line. That's 443-424-8347. It spells out Hi-Fi Civ Dis, as in civil disobedience. You can also donate to make this show possible. That is, in fact, the only way that this show continues, is by your donations. So those of you who are watching at home, if you like this content, if you want a show that focuses each week on stories of peaceful resistors around the world using creativity and peaceful resistance to achieve freedom in our lifetime, donate to Peace News Now through the QR codes that you see on your screen, or by donating at donate.peacenewsnow.com.
Banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
On LRN.FM, we talk a lot about alternative currencies. Did you know that now you can buy gold, silver, and other precious metals with bitcoins? LRN.FM has partnered with Amaji Metals to bring you great prices on beautiful .999 fine silver, as well as gold, platinum. Check out their select coins or Federal Reserve notes at metal.fm. That's LRN.FM.
Instead of just listening, watch. See the Liberty Radio Network's key New Hampshire-based live shows via our studio. You'll still be able to listen to the Liberty Radio Network via the cam feed in high quality 24/7, even when there's no live show being produced in our Keene studio. But wait, there's more. Our chat room is built into the cam page so you can interact with other listeners online. Listen, watch, and chat, all free at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. Find out about giving to our Google AdWords campaign at amp.freetalklive.com. That's amp.freetalklive.com.
I got a squash.
I know, I saw that. I was laughing. Did you hear me?
Well, you know why? Because I can't carry my handgun here, so I put a squash there.
30309.
Peace news now. We're talking about cool interactions with cops, peaceful resistors. We started off talking about the green beam, a famous laser that is used by activists in Manchester to promote messages of peace and questioning the government. Now, I want to shift gears, but also along the same topic of peaceful resistance. There's a group called Come and Take It, and they have chapters all over Texas, probably all over the country, but in Texas, of course, they've got their... But I think they've got the most support, something like 27 chapters in Texas alone. So Come and Take It Austin is the big deal here that I want to focus on tonight. So what open carrying, for those who don't know, is openly displaying a firearm on one's hip or one's back. It's just having a weapon that anyone could see. And it is legal to do in places like Texas and New Hampshire and Vermont, but not everyone does it. It's just not commonly seen anymore. And so people could get... perhaps rightfully afraid when they see men with guns. They don't know what's going on, and they might report that to the police. Then the police have what? A report of a lawful activity. Sometimes the police use that as an excuse to go and investigate and get their adrenaline pumping as they might intimidate and try and steal the gun from a person wrongfully. This has happened in Philadelphia where people have been shot for open carrying legally. And Texas and other open carry organizations want to normalize the behavior, get the police used to seeing people with guns so that they don't freak out and overreact when a regular citizen is walking around defending himself. So here's a video clip that I wanted to share with you because this is, I've never seen a cop interaction that goes this way. And I've shared a lot of videos of police abusing their power and exercising poor judgment, but this is not one of those videos, so I have to provide a little bit of a balance for that. And I'd like to share this one with you because this guy, he deserves a pat on the back. This is a well done interaction.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know you can clear their office and stuff.
We were just talking.
I know.
We were just talking to this guy.
I already know.
Hey, well, good to see you. Thanks for coming out.
Hey, can I have a handshake?
More of us.
Can I have a handshake?
No problem.
Do you mind if I get a picture of you?
Hey, you already recorded me. I don't care.
So the cop doesn't care that they're recording. The cop doesn't mind shaking their hands. A lot of cops won't shake hands.
Thank you very much.
Especially with someone holding a gun.
Oh, shit, dog.
Do you guys have a website?
So bystanders are curious or asking about it, but then this cop doesn't go away. He ends up taking pictures with people, talking about how he's for people's right to carry, and then he talks even about how ignorance of the law is no excuse. It's kind of baloney.
And we tried to talk to him. And he goes, I don't need y'all to teach me the law. We got taught that in school. And then he took off. And we're like, okay.
You know what? You get taught the law, but you guys know how thick the law is.
Yeah.
We're traffic statistics.
Yes.
Alone.
We know.
It's always good to be refresh and update yourself and know because things changes all the time.
Well, we talk to officers all the time that aren't familiar with like ID laws and gun laws.
Absolutely.
Like the biggest one is most officers think that you have to ID to a police officer. And we're like, no, you don't. Not unless you've been lawfully arrested. And they're like, no.
Yeah. I'm not worried about you guys.
See, and you are happy-go-lucky. You're not mean-mugging me. So I was like, I'm fine. Plus, y'all got more power than me. What am I going to do? I'm going to stay out here since about 30
Okay, he just touched on an important point. The officer said, plus, y'all got more power than me, so I'm going to have to run back to my truck or whatever. You know, so he's saying that the numbers of people surrounding him with firearms make a difference. That, you know, sometimes, like the examples I gave of the activists in Philadelphia who were doing open carrying, they were doing it alone. Yeah, I don't recommend you do that because you're going to get shot. That's because you are outnumbered by the police in a place like Philadelphia when you're open carrying alone. This group of, it looks like about 10, 15 guys are all open carrying with long rifles, handguns, and one officer coming up to them is not going to be able to overpower him, so he doesn't even try the intimidation route. He's Mr. Hey, I'm smiling, I'm happy, I'll shake your hand, I'll do whatever you want. It's the whole question of where does a 900-pound gorilla sit? Anywhere he wants, right? Because the cop just wants to get this situation over with. You saw at the very beginning of the video where he walks up to them, says, "Oh, hey, everything's all right, and I've made contact." He pretty much fulfilled his obligations as a police officer to investigate. Now I want to get out of here. And he doesn't want to stand around and chat, it seems, but these guys have him surrounded, and they aren't really letting him go. They just keep chatting with him. So he does make that point about firepower. That's an important one.
We understand, we memorize this much of the law, right? And y'all's book is this much, and so it's really hard for y'all to know it word for word, everything.
And there's some people, they overreact because of the way the call comes in. True.
Listen to this.
Dispatch didn't ask the right question.
Everybody sees something different, and they make some things that you're like, okay, and you get there and it's totally not the same.
He's talking about the calls that come into the police department.
Guns blazing and all hyped up because that ain't gonna do you any good.
Well, they do that in some towns still.
I know.
I done some of the open carry at the overpasses, like the 360. I met Officer Lawrence there, and there was 2 other officers that I had met too. But now when I do it, they just drive by and because I'm over there. I just obviously I'm not an Obama supporter, so I.
You're not Obama.
I'm proud of it. I'm not ashamed of it at all. His values are not mine. Yeah. So.
Everybody has guns.
Absolutely. Are you a native Texan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You look happy to see us. You actually look. You don't have that look on your face like, oh my God, I got to deal with it. You
look around going,
can I get a picture of y'all?
Yeah, so I'll cut it off there. They end up taking pictures with this guy, and he's right. The man behind the camera is right. He says the cop looks happy to see them, and I've never seen a cop interaction go that well. It should be a model for all of us. I mean, I have had very bad interactions with the police in general, and I would like to have more interactions like this one. So whatever these guys were doing, that's a real model to follow. Coming up, we're going to be talking with Davi Barker about a couple of things. There's been a small tragedy with Bitcoin not bombs, but that's been averted thanks to Davi's actions, taking some, even perhaps undue responsibility and lending a hand. He'll give you the details on that. Plus, San Francisco is reporting a high number of credit card knives that are going through TSA. And Davi Barker on Facebook earlier today was claiming responsibility. He thinks that he is partly to blame for the high volume of these credit card knives being confiscated by TSA. He's been taking them through the airport every time he travels for years, and he's been telling people about these. It's like a fold-up knife, and it folds up to be the size of a credit card, just as thin, and same dimensions, so it could fit in your wallet or in your phone in the back of an Otter case or something like that. And it's a handy tool to be able to open packages. And this might be Davi calling in right now. Hey, Davi Barker, you are on Peace News Now.
How's it going?
It's great. We were just talking about the credit card knife for which you may be responsible for all of these TSA confiscations that they're now looking at passengers for the credit card knives. You mentioned on Free Talk Live that there's also a key knife that people might be able to get through TSA, but that's not what you're calling about, is it?
No, I was calling to talk about a blog post I did on Daily Anarchist this week about my mobile wallet getting hacked right after Porcfest.
Right, and do tell us about that.
Well, essentially, this was my first mobile wallet. This was a wallet that I've used for festivals and conferences for the longest time, and it was a blockchain wallet, and I had sort of deposit cards printed that I keep in my wallet so people could scan the QR code and send me money. And I guess what happened is, or the best we can deduce of what happened is, that somebody hacked into my Gmail account, and by hacking into my Gmail account, they get these sort of backups that blockchain sends out to your wallet, and by having that, then they have the private key, and then they can move the Bitcoin, and then it's gone. So everything that I made at Porcfest this year sort of disappeared the day I got back.
Oh, no.
Which is kind of sad, but it's, you know, Porcfest is still a priceless experience, so...
yeah, but that is a tragedy. Real quick, we're coming up on a break. Is there any lessons learned? Is there a way to encrypt or secure your Gmail account so that people don't get hacked?
Yeah, I put two-factor authentication. I put two-factor authentication on my Gmail account, and so now when I sign in, it sends me a text message to make sure I am who I say I am.
All right, I'm going to do that on this break. We're joined by Davi Barker. Can you stay with us for another segment?
I sure can.
Okay, great. We'll be back with Davi Barker.
Are you looking for an excuse to come check out New Hampshire?
Are you able to hear the ads, Davi?
To Keenvention.
I can hear the ads, yeah.
Okay, great. You sound good, by the way. Where are you calling from at the moment?
I'm calling from the Plug and Play Tech Center where the Bitcoin Beauties art show is.
Oh, that's very cool. Hey, well, we're on a long break. We've got 8 minutes, so do you want to call back rather than waste your minutes?
Yeah, that'd be good. My battery's pretty low. When? What is the time that you need me back?
11:06. So at 06.
Okay. I'll call it 06.
All right. Thanks, man. Talk to you then. Peace.
Bye.
$20 at keenvention.info, or you can pay with Bitcoin. Visit keenvention.info.
And to those of you who are watching along at YouTube, I would like to invite you to send a Bitcoin donation to our secure wallets. We've never had anything stolen, at least not yet, and I will enable double-factor authentication on our Gmail accounts. But these Peace News Now addresses are not linked to any Gmail accounts, probably part of the reason why we haven't been hacked. So you can send a secure Bitcoin donation to donate.peacenewsnow.com or simply scan one of the QR codes that you see on your screen. Every donation helps.
Do your online shopping at shop.lrn.fm.
When I found the Free State Project, I knew it was the key to achieving liberty in my lifetime. It's awesome to be surrounded by like-minded, freedom-loving activists who've moved here to New Hampshire. From politics to civil disobedience, we have it all. Where I came from, it felt that no matter what I did, liberty was dying. Perhaps you feel the same way? Call 888-377-2515 now to learn more about the Free State Project. That's 888-377-2515 or visit freestateproject.org.
More Peace News Now is coming up next, live after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Online at thelibertybeat.com. I'm Brian Hagan with your Liberty Beat for Tuesday, July 8th, 2014. Gold opened today at $1,317. Silver opened at $21. And Bitcoin is trading at $619.55. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from Bitmain Technology, creators of the Antminer S1 180 gigahash Bitcoin miner. No pre-order, ships on time, and sometimes it's early. Buy yours today at bitmaintech.com or give them a call, 844-BITMAIN. That's 844-248-6246. And support comes from Affordable Sound, CD and DVD duplication, along with posters and promotions materials. Mention promo code LIBERTY, and when you order 10 or more posters, you get 10 free. Online, affordablesound.com, or call them up at 512-459-5253. In the news for this Tuesday, the Obama administration is planning to send federal agents equipped with riot gear to Murrieta, California, to stop protesters from blocking roadways traveled by buses transporting undocumented migrants into the state from South Texas. A resident from a neighboring community said the local police are warning protesters that it, quote, could get ugly if they continue to obstruct roadways. Many citizens are opposed to migrants being relocated to their communities and feel it's unfair they're being rewarded for breaking the law when Americans fail to receive the same treatment. German authorities have arrested a man allegedly hired by U.S. intelligence agencies to spy on former NSA contractor Edward Snowden. Germany's domestic intelligence agency made the arrest on suspicions that the 31-year-old man was a foreign spy. The suspect admitted to passing information to an American contact about a special German parliamentary committee set up to investigate the spying revelations made by Snowden. The incident follows breaking mass surveillance of German citizens by the NSA, which included monitoring the Chancellor's mobile phone. On Monday, President Barack Obama signed into law a bill that authorized a 5-year budget for the U.S. intelligence community and aims to provide protections for whistleblowers. The legislation states that whistleblowers will be protected if they report wrongdoing to government watchdog agencies or congressional intelligence communities. The new law does not offer protections to intelligence contractors. Support for Liberty Beat comes from Accountable Authority, now offering a public database of police abuse and misconduct. Take action and join support and protection. Find them online at accountableauthority.com. This is the Liberty Beat for Tuesday, July 8th, 2014. Check out the website at libertybeat.com. Undergrads attending college will pay 21% more for federal student loans than those who took out loans over the past year, following a law passed by Congress linking loans to 10-year government bond rates. Beginning this month, students will pay over 4.66% on federal Stafford loans, up from 3.86%. The new rate means a $10,000 loan paid off in 10 years would cost about $460 more now than if that same loan had been taken out for the last academic year. Graduate students will see a 15% increase for the upcoming school year, and under the new law, interest rates will be calculated according to the market rather than set by Congress. According to a report post, likely 2016 presidential contender Hillary Clinton earned nearly $2 million for speaking engagements from 8 universities in just 9 months. Some of the schools, which paid the former Secretary of State around $300,000 per speech, raised tuition prices on students already burdened by the growing student loan bubble. The University of Connecticut paid Hillary $250,000 not long after the school hit its students with a 6.5% tuition increase, and fees jumped 17% over the next 4 years at the University of Las Vegas, where Mrs. Clinton accepted another $250,000 fee. Support for review at Dr. Griffin. It's mymagicmud.com. And support comes from Brave New Books. Find them online at bravenewbookstore.com. Is the Liberty Beat for Tuesday, July 8th, 2014. I'm Brian Hagan reporting, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Shortly after being fired from his coding position at a downsizing tech firm, 34-year-old Irvine native Sam Morrison told reporters Monday that he believed he had finally achieved the sort of work-life balance for which he has long strived.
Yeah, ever since I got fired, it just seems like my whole entire routine is just clicking. I go for jogs in the afternoon, spend nights with my wife and kid. I'm even cooking more. Everything just feels right.
Morrison, who since his termination has found time to pick up reading again, eat a healthy diet, and sleep more than 5 hours a night, noted that his unemployment has allowed him to find a level of harmony in his personal life that he never before thought possible.
For a while there, I thought that I was going to spend the rest of my life constantly worrying about getting to the office on time and pleasing my boss. Outside of the late payments on the house, the mounting credit card debt, the rapidly depleting savings, my life is essentially stress-free. I honestly couldn't be happier.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome back to Peace News Now. We're talking with Davi Barker about his latest blog post over at dailyanarchist.com. The title, The Greatest Porcfest Ever Stolen. That's Davi calling in once again. Davi, you are now live.
How's it going?
It's good. Now, please share with us what you were saying at the end of last segment, that you had pretty much everything that you made at Porcfest in Bitcoins stolen because somebody hacked into your Gmail account, reset your password, and were able to get the private key of your Bitcoin wallet.
It isn't that they got the password to the blockchain login. I guess it's that blockchain sends out backups of your wallet periodically, and if a person was able to intercept that email by getting the password to my Gmail account, then they just had access to the wallet. They could broadcast a transaction into the network from anywhere. They wouldn't even need to log into blockchain to do it.
And this has happened to other notable activists in the past, and the solution seems to be enabling double-factor authentication. Is that correct?
Well, that is one possible solution, right? But that isn't a panacea, because organizations like Free Aid or Liz Reitzig, for example, they were hacked through two-factor authentication, and I don't really understand how that was done. So I don't know that there is necessarily a good security solution, except unplugging your Bitcoin and putting them onto offline wallets for deep storage if you have any sort of large amount. So, for example, Drew Phillips, who is sort of the other founder of Bitcoin Not Bombs, he bought a printer called a Pipper or a Piper. I'm not sure how it's pronounced.
Yes.
But it is essentially a thermal receipt printer that doesn't plug into the internet, but generates sort of key pairs of Bitcoin. So essentially you push a button and it prints out a paper wallet, and you can print them essentially as much as you have paper. And so the real secure thing to do would have been for me to print out some of those paper wallets while I was at Porcfest, transfer it periodically from my phone to the paper wallet, and then physically carry them home, as opposed to having them on the internet.
But then wouldn't the TSA be able to take your Bitcoins?
Well, yes, there's always the TSA. I don't think, there's secure, you'd have to talk to somebody from the EFF to know for sure. But there are sort of protocols for searching people's electronic devices. I don't think at this point that the TSA can actually rifle through physical papers, and that might be sort of a function of the word papers actually being in the Fourth Amendment. I'm not sure. But I think that they can't do that. So I could have tucked them into my wallet, or I could have tucked them into a book, or I could have hidden them in my sock, or I'm not too worried about the TSA. But the real tragedy of it is that I was holding other people's money. Right, so I go to Porcfest, I go to these conferences, and I represent a sort of entourage of commercial and nonprofit partners, and I sell merchandise of other people. And typically speaking, I divide those funds when I get home. Well, in this case, all of it was stolen, and it's my fault because I had this sort of I was a couple of years behind in security because this was an old wallet, and I wasn't paying close enough attention. But I've made good on those obligations from my personal savings. And I guess that's another security feature people should look at, is to diversify, to not keep things in one wallet or in one wallet service, but to have things in many places.
Yeah, that's a real blessing, and certainly something you don't have to do. There's no government that's going to compel you to fund this account. This is something you did of your own free will, and it was smart, at least, that you had several wallets from which to draw, so that you were able to fill whatever was missing. That is remarkable, and I think it says a lot about your character, and it's a great precedent to set for other organizations that may have faulty security, that, hey, other organizations have been hacked, and they replenished their supply. They didn't just say, sorry, we're belly up now. So this is a great precedent to be setting.
Yeah, so really the damage is, it didn't come from my personal funds. Nothing was lost from the organizations I work with. Really the thing that took the hit is shiny badges. I was sort of deeply invested from the investment capital I had with Shiny Badges. I launched a bunch of new products like hats and shirts that people had never seen before. And now that those have all sold, I don't have the funds to order more.
Oh.
And so Shiny Badges is going to have to slow down for a little while. But, you know, that's okay. I'm not starving, right? I have other work. I also diversify my income. So.
Well, can people make donations to Shiny Badges? In other words, can you send Shiny Badges money and just not order anything?
Yeah, they can. There's a QR code on the website on the left, which I would appreciate. And some people have. Like there was an address that I created and I included in the article that I explained about getting stolen from, and people have donated about $70 to that, which I appreciate.
That's pretty cool. What was the dollar figure of the heist?
It was 8.5 or 8.69 Bitcoin. It was almost just short of $6,000.
Wow. Yeah, it's not chump change. Depending. Yeah. So, lessons learned from this interaction, from this experience.
I guess it's a testimony against centralization. Like one of the major reasons that I lost so much is because I took all of the cash that I earned at Porcfest and I put it all in the same wallet using the Bitcoin ATM. And so I also lost the cash payments that people made. So like centralization was sort of my problem, right? I had all my funds in one place, and as a result I lost all of it. Whereas I could have just as easily put it on many different wallets, and I could have just as easily, and I guess also just security, two-factor authentication, and various other things. I guess Free Aid has the most comprehensive blog post about the various security measures you can take.
Well, I think it's terrific that they have that. Also, you mentioned that Shiny Badges is doing a lot of new things. They've got hats that they've never done before, some new T-shirts as well. So people can check those all out at shinybadges.com. And if you're over there and want to make a donation to Davi, there is a button to a QR code there, so you can make a donation as well. Hey, and anything else?
I mean, like, Shiny Badges is it is a commercial enterprise, right? So I am just as happy to sell things as I am to receive donations, right? I'm sort of not about it.
I know, but I would want to donate just because of the way that you handled the situation. Like, I think it's laudable to reach into your own pocket and say, I messed up, I was responsible for holding money for other people, other organizations, and I'm going to take money from my personal business and move it over to this other place to replenish the supply of these bitcoins that were stolen. I mean, it's not like you wanted this to happen, or it was something that could have been easily foreseen. I mean, when your account gets hacked.
Though. There were plenty of people warning me that I was going to be a target because of how outspoken I am, and there were people who were telling me to up my security like days before this happened, and it was like on my list of things to do. So it was a very opportunistic crime. The other thing that we're doing is I'm going to be working with Blake Anderson and Andreas Antonopoulos and some of these other sort of security guys, and we're going to be doing a brochure sort of like the Bitcoin Not Bombs Bitcoin Quick Start Guide. We're going to be doing a security at conferences guide, so that people know sort of what to think about public Wi-Fi access, how to avoid keyloggers or whatever sort of other sniffing happens. And this is happening at conferences. The thieves in the Bitcoin world, they targeted Austin, they targeted Free Aid at Austin. There's a good chance that I was actually sort of compromised while I was in Washington, D.C. because Wi-Fi access was limited and I was on public Wi-Fi the whole time. So we're going to be putting out sort of a white paper or a brochure on security at these events.
Yeah, I was pleased to see that it didn't seem like there were any Austin-like attacks at Porcfest. There was a Bitcoin-only Wi-Fi network, and perhaps that was responsible for restricting some of the malicious keyloggers or other sorts of sniffers that could have been out there. I appreciate you calling in, Davi. Thanks so much for being with us. The blog post is at dailyanarchist.com. Davi's website is shinybadges.com. And we will return.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Davi. And we'll return with a story about a fake Marine. All right, Davi. Catch you later, man. Thanks again.
Yep, thanks, Jack.
Hang in there. Peace.
It's just money.
I know,
I
but
think the video of the little girl buying the Survivor Max book is more than the money I lost.
oh yeah, that was a really cool video. I'm glad that that little girl was so happy about the book and everything. Also, you said you're at something really cool. You're at like Babes in Bitcoin or something. What are you at?
Yeah, there's an organization called Bitcoin Beauties, which is sort of like getting women into Bitcoin thing, but it's not really sort of your Michelle Seven type. It's your sort of babes in bikinis on beaches type of organization. And so this particular event is female artists sort of doing a gallery, selling their art for Bitcoin, and I don't know. It's
very cool.
It's an art gallery. I've never seen a Bitcoin art gallery before.
Yeah, sounds great.
And so Mad Bitcoin is here. He's doing an episode on it, and yeah, Mad Bitcoin is filming. He's actually filming me right now, so you'll.
Excellent. Hey, put him on. This is a break anyway. I know your phone's about to die, but it would be cool to get Mad Bitcoin's voice on this episode.
Yeah, you want to have him in after the break?
Yeah, well, your phone's about to die. You can, yeah, I would ask him about the conference if you have time, or tell him to call in.
I have a charger here too. It would be all right if you want to have him on.
Yeah, I would like to have him on, but he should get a Skype. He probably has Skype on his phone, so he could like Skype in.
I don't know. Tom, he's asking if you have Skype and any access to Skype. Didn't we discover that wasn't possible? Okay, well, when are you back, Derek?
In 3 minutes. Scratch that, 2 minutes.
3 minutes? Can you send him a Google Hangout link?
Yeah, I can send him a Google Hangout link.
Okay.
I will invite him right now.
He's going to send you a Google Hangout link. Cool.
Okay. Well, cool, then. I'm going to hang up from you, Davi.
All right, I will talk to you later. Thanks for having me on.
All right, rock on. Peace.
Peace.
Borden is the guy for you. PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality. Podcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 70% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. From demonstrations and vigils to outreach and volunteering, there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the Liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com.
You can interact with other LRN listeners on our message board at forum.lrn.fm. That's forum.lrn.fm.
Looks like I might be connected.
Welcome back. This is Peace News Now. You are listening live at peacenewsnow.com/live. I think that we are now connected to a very special guest. Mad Bitcoins is with us. He joined in an unconventional way. We don't see video of you at this time. I see video of you, Mad. So, but if you're able to reconnect through my link, the link that I sent to you for the invite, you can jump in on video, and I would love to see you on video. Right now we have your audio.
Can you hear us, Derek?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear your audio, and you sound
audio
great.
Might be the best we've got. You can try to Skype Peace News Now if you want to try that.
No.
Otherwise, we're
No,
I
no,
can do
it's
Google Hangouts on my phone.
It's cool. No, we can do Google Hangouts. It's just that you invited me to a Hangout, and I've already got one going.
Yeah, I can't seem to join that Hangout link that you sent. Do you want to try it one more time?
Yeah, try it again. In the meantime, I want to tell the folks about Marine, who there was a man who gave up his seat for a Marine. A nice gesture of any time you give up your seat for an elderly person. It's a nice thing to do. But this made the rounds. D'Angelo Williams, he's apparently of the Carolina Panthers, and he was sitting in a first-class business class ticket in a seat on the plane, and he saw a man dressed in full Marine garb, an elderly man, but hey, he was wearing the uniform, he was decorated with like a bajillion medals, and the Marine apparently was not a Marine. So while everyone on Twitter was congratulating him and saying, "Woo, we love you, you're so great, giving up your seat, you know, the Marines, they fight for our freedom, you know, what we couldn't give them." But no, this guy was actually just a faker. And there's a couple of ways that we could have pointed it out. In the picture, the man is wearing a silver star, a bronze star, and a purple heart, and the medals are out of order. The Marine also never wears a cover or a hat indoors unless he is armed, which this man was not. Of course, he's on the plane. So here's a picture of the man. Do you think you would be able to tell the difference? Here's the Twitter. It says, "I gave up my seat to military. If my seat is better, I always give up my seat to military if my seat is better." And it says, "I truly appreciate our troops. Hashtag flying the right way." And it looks like we've got a special call from J.B. Baker. Not quite sure who that is, but J.B. Baker is on the line. So let's see, we got two calls coming in. This one is Mad Bitcoins is back. Mad Bitcoins, you are on Peace News Now. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Derek, for having us. We're at the Bitcoin Beauties art event in Sunnyvale, California.
Yeah, tell us about that.
There are girls and wine and Bitcoin, and I'm talking to you.
Yeah, so who's holding this event? Where's it being held?
This is being held at the Plug and Play Tech Center. I'm not really sure how to describe it. It's kind of like a Silicon Valley thing. They have a bunch of nice chairs and some Wi-Fi. A great view of San Jose, Sunnyvale. The sun is setting here. And it's being put on by Bitcoin Beauties on Twitter, at BTC Beauties.
And what are they about? What's their group about?
They're about spreading the word about Bitcoin to new people, especially women. They are a group of beautiful women, and they like to talk about Bitcoin. Today they've brought their art. They made homemade cookies. They have wine, and pretty much they've taken over the Bitcoin meetup here and really transformed it. So I don't think it's like this every other week.
I hear you're taking some video for your show, which is Mad Bitcoins, a terrific show, unparalleled. There's nothing else like it that exists right now. It's on YouTube. If you're not already subscribed, go over there and subscribe to Mad Bitcoins channel. There's also the World Crypto Network that, Thomas, you also operate. And there are several shows on the World Crypto Network. I think there's a live show every day of the week. Is that the case?
We've almost got a show every day. We're working on it. Tomorrow, of course, we have the Bitcoin Talk Show at noon Pacific Time, 3 o'clock in the East, where you and I will be discussing the events of Bitcoin, what's been going on since we got back from Porcfest.
Yeah, hopefully we'll also be sharing video that you're taking at this very event.
Absolutely. I'm being filmed right now, Derek J. style. I'm filming myself with one camera while filming myself with another camera. That's right.
Whoa, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's getting meta right there. So is it just those two channels that people can subscribe to you, Mad Bitcoins and World Crypto Network, or is the Bitcoin group has its own channel, right?
Yeah, Bitcoin Group is also on World Crypto Network now, but I still put it on its own channel if you're interested in just the Bitcoin Group. Hasn't been updated in a little while, but mainly World Crypto Network, where we have shows like Bitcoin Rush Mad Pot Coins, This Week in Cryptos, Dark News, and Midas Marnie. We have a whole bunch of shows now. It's getting really exciting.
Well, very cool. Anything else you want to share with the listening audience at home?
There's new episodes of Chris Before Coffee on the World Crypto Network, and also we're going to be putting video of this Bitcoin Beauties event up later. We have interviews with most of the girls, pictures of their artwork, and they are selling their artwork in Bitcoin. I'm not sure if they're going to do it online, but maybe you could email them, and we're going to try to get that information out to you as well.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate it. Mad Bitcoins. Thanks so much for being on Peace News Now.
Thanks, Derek. Thanks very much for having me.
Rock on. We're going to move on to our next caller who comes to us from Skype. JB Baker. Let's see if we can get connected. JB Baker was trying to call in to the show just a moment ago, so we're going to try to see if we can get that reconnected. We don't want the ringing sound to go through the air. But that was a very funny story about the Marine. I'm glad to hear that a man was... I'm a little bit glad to hear that he was duped, because next time he'll consider that, hey, this guy wearing this uniform, I feel compelled to give up my seat for him, but maybe that's not necessary. Maybe it's just some guy in a uniform, and he's not special. He's just happens to be wearing a certain piece of cloth. What else is going on in the world of peaceful resistance? We've got a story of Jeff for Justice. Ambush interviewing Debbie Schultz. You may have heard of her. She's a representative out of California, I believe. And ambush interviews are when an activist takes a video camera, walks up to a politician or whoever is the subject of the interview, and just starts asking questions. In this case, activist Jeff for Justice. That's Jeff and then the number 4, Justice. You can find him on YouTube. And I think he's also got a website, jeffforjustice.com. But he finds Debbie Schultz and starts asking her about Obama's kill list. She obviously wants to dodge the questions, says she doesn't have time for an interview. Oh, but she's got time to answer everyone else's question. Here's just a taste of what's coming up.
Asked about We Are Change, and they asked you about Obama's kill list, and you said you didn't know what that is.
We did not have to do this.
I can walk and talk. That's all right. Do you have did you get better acquainted with Obama's kill list since the We Are Change interview?
Wow. Activism done right. Very inspiring. We'll play a better clip from that when Peace News Now returns.
The warning signs.
First, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
It got worse.
Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
Stop the insanity of voting for the same old abusers. Declare your independence from the two-party system and join the New Hampshire Liberty Party today at nhliberty.info. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees!
What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Davi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of
Read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's .lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is Peace News Now, and we're playing a clip from Jeff for Justice. He's an activist out in California who is constantly questioning authority, and here he is asking Representative Davi Schultz about Obama's kill list. She dodges, of course, but he is persistent, and I view this as an excellent example of something everyone can do. Pick up a video camera. You've got a smartphone. You've probably got one right now. You can use that as a tool to hold politicians accountable in ways they've never been able to be held accountable before, because this video can be instantly broadcast, streamed live to the internet, and saved forever. That's what politicians fear the most. But here it is. This is Jeff for Justice asking Davi Schultz about Obama's kill list.
Congresswoman, you were asked about We Are Change, and they asked you about Obama's kill list, and you said you didn't know what that is.
We do not.
Do you? I can walk and talk. That's all right. Do you have? Did you get better acquainted with Obama's kill list since the We Are Change interview?
Sorry, I said we didn't.
Why would anybody vote for the failed two-party system? I appreciate your support of equality, by the way, but it's funny how people in politics are so anti-free speech and not talking to the people. You would have had time. You know, I like that you say that, because I hate when these publicists come out to these events and then they don't make time for indie media reporters. But yet, if there would have been 2 people behind me in line, you would have signed their books. So please don't give me no bullshit. But anyway, talk to me about why people should continue to vote for the failed two-party system. When you people have endless lie-based war, poverty, Obama is a bigger warmonger than George Bush, and here you guys are perpetuating the failed two-party system. Why is that? Why should people continue to vote for you? Why should people continue to vote for the failed two-party system?
I'm part of something.
Okay, and so now the politician has time to stop and talk with a person who wants to talk with her. This person doesn't
really
have a video
nothing
camera.
to say about Obama's kill list, or the fact that he's killed a Colorado teen?
I thought it was, let me stop here and just comment a bit on how Jeff is doing so far. First of all, he comes across a little bit aggressive, I would say. He's not someone who, if I was looking at this video, I would say, you know, which person is acting more rationally. Even though his questions are very good, he seems like an aggressive person. He's got a loud volume of his voice. His questions are almost screamed at the politician who's not answering them. He gives her almost no time to answer these questions. I still applaud the action. Doing the interview is not easy. Doing an ambush interview, you're off the cuff, there are no notes. It's not like you can practice a little bit when you see a politician coming, but you got like 60 seconds max to prepare for something like this. The video is 7 minutes long, and he's just following her, dogging her with questions the whole time. And it was appropriate, I thought, for him to stop asking questions when she stops and starts talking to another person. It's like, I'm monopolizing the time of the politician when we're walking, but when she's talking to someone else, I'm going to be respectful of that person at least and let them say their piece. So let's continue with the video.
And when the Republicans have control, they're going to have the secret kill list? Could you just admit that the Republicans and Democrats are two heads of the same beast? It's all corporately owned.
We need to go back. No, I think you're suspecting the text. So it's my bag. Back there.
I'm not letting Dennis run again. I'll actually let you speak and defend. Just defend the two-party system. It's a complete failure.
Yeah.
So he continues to persist, asking them questions about the two-party system. I think that's an interesting one for Jeff for Justice to focus on. I mean, yeah, all of the politicians don't ask for everyone's consent. If consent is what matters between adults, then all politicians violate that, because when they're elected, even by a majority, not everyone wanted them to be the leader. So by this Debbie Schultz woman, as benevolent as she may intend to be, she's going to be making decisions for other people that they didn't ask her to make. And I think that's the point that Jeff for Justice is sort of missing here. It doesn't matter that she's a Democrat, Republican, whatever political party. What matters is that she's making decisions for other people without their consent. And I think that's what really needs to be focused on. Anyway, I thought the tactic deserved some attention. Very well done, and I applaud Jeff for Justice. I hope he gets more practice doing some of those interviews. Not only are they entertaining to watch, they have the most potential to go viral, as politicians are often unprepared for such ambush interviews and have more opportunities to misspeak, be taken out of context, and stuff like that, which is all good fun for activists who want to disrupt the system. Hey, speaking of disrupting the system, I came across something pretty cool this week. A 15-year-old has started his own podcast thanks to the efforts of Michael Dean of Freedom Fiends. And I'm seeing now, I just checked out his website. I didn't even realize this before going live and broadcasting, but he is now up to his second episode. I only heard his first. It's called anyak.com. Similar to like ANCAP, but yak meaning like chatting. So he's anarcho-yakitalism podcast is what it's called. It's got a nice little website at anyak.com, an about section, a little legal stuff, and then the podcasts. Very good, high-quality audio podcast. And for a 15-year-old to be putting out material like this, I think speaks to the level of like where we're at with indie media. You don't need mainstream media to get your news anymore. You don't need it for entertainment. You don't need to have $1 million budgets to produce content that people want to watch and listen to and share. You can do it as a 15-year-old with just a couple of bucks, microphone, an internet connection, and a couple of streaming services. It's not that hard if you take the steps to do it. Almost everyone has their own podcast now, especially here in the Liberty community. A lot of people are saying, well, hey, it's It's just a little bit of money, a little bit of time, and then the message gets spread so far. So check it out, an-yak.com, anyak.com. Definitely something to check out. Here, I'll just play you a quick sample from the first episode. And the intro beds are...
Anarchy and yaks?
They're good.
Who does he think he is? Can't get off that couch with tasty philosophy and deep yaks. This is Nick Hazelton with the Narco Yakidalism.
Hey there, this is Nick Hazelton, the Anarcho-Yakitalist. This is the first podcast I've ever recorded, and it is the first podcast in a series on philosophy. With my series on philosophy, I want to build a foundation of philosophy to build off of for the rest of our series later on.
Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? He describes himself as a 15-year-old rebellious smart aleck who knows a thing or two about politics and philosophy. He says, quote, I was indoctrinated by the freedom fiends and the bad Quaker. Some pretty good heroes to have. Michael Dean is a special character in the world of podcasting and high-quality audio content. He runs a blog called creamyradioaudio.com. And boy, this is encouraging to see young people jumping on the bandwagon like that. So I will be subscribed and following along Nick Hazelton, doing a fantastic job. So, okay, there's also some news about a peaceful resistance that involves high-volume language. Now, this verges on not peaceful because I am not for yelling, but you be the judge. I'm going to play you a clip of a drag queen confronting a Christian disruptor at a gay pride parade in Seattle. This from Mama Tits. That's the name of the drag queen. Here she is.
The Bible to spew their hate, but actually, if they followed by all the teachings of this book that they used to hate, they themselves are sinners.
Just a sample. We'll be back. Peace News Now.
Liberty activists around the country are starting to realize politics alone won't set us free. So what will? At Liberty on the Rocks, we believe the answer starts with living your principles, spreading ideas, and connecting with those around you. By starting a Liberty on the Rocks network, you can make a difference by uniting libertarian thinkers. Find out how much fun it is to build your local network from the ground up. Visit libertyontherocks.org today to get started.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring Simon to the rally. Walk with me.
Well, I'm
Whoa, hey. Hey, who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is you ain't gonna make me. Wait a minute.
Forget it. Whoa! Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. If you can't listen to the Liberty Radio Network internet streams, free satellite channel, or radio affiliates, no worries. You can listen to LRN.FM from any phone, anywhere. Add this number to your phone. 213-493-0309. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The Liberty Radio Network listen lines are locked into our stream 24 hours a day. Call 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
Shiny badges on your jacket. Shiny badges start a conversation with your neighbor or your doctor or your family or your school. Now there's teachers and lawyers and business executives, and they all wear shiny badges and they all reject the state. Shiny badges on your jacket. Shiny badges show the world that you reject coercion and aggression and oppression by the state. ShinyBadges.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supply, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.lrn.fm. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit the Liberty Radio Network when you shop at Amazon via shop.lrn.fm.
Are you about to meet the media? If you're about to be interviewed, do their homework for them. Know this about the person who will interview you. He or she is busy, so expect minimal, if any, preparation. He or she doesn't know as much about your topic as you do. He or she isn't as concerned as you are about getting your message out. So you need to take responsibility. Provide a biography and fact sheet, photographs, or other materials that tell your story. Reporters won't be put off if you supply frequently asked questions. Remember, Public Speaking 101, at the end of the speech, what's the one thing you want them to remember? You can download the document I supply to reporters who interview me and squirm through a video that demonstrates how not to conduct your media interview at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
A drag queen confronts Christian haters in Seattle gay pride parade. But first, we have a caller. Caller, you are on Peace News Now.
Hey, Derek. Not calling to ambush you.
Oh, okay, great. What's up?
After all, I considered giving you a caller ID, but you don't need to answer that one way or the other. I do think it's ironic that your mentor responded on another show, his that he heard this rude caller the night before, that I respectfully don't believe I ever got an honest answer from James Cleveland. And you can check the tape whether or not you agree with me or not. I didn't mean to be rude. When I think that somebody is doing something manifestly wrong, I will come at them rather hostile, for they should be confronted as such.
Well, catch our other listeners up to speed for those who aren't familiar with that conversation.
Yes, James Cleveland, I'll do it for you. James Cleveland made like what I call a troll and tried to film an incident where there was a gun-involved incident where a kid was threatening to kill himself, and he ultimately did.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, he scoffed at, he and Ian scoffed at the idea, and James literally the next day scoffed at the idea that he would have been shot. Like I was referring to the gunman making like Lee Harvey Oswald and just taken out with one shot. You know what was funny about that, Derek, was that James scoffed on Free Talk Live that how would he get shot? He was surrounded by a bunch of men with guns, and even, what did they call that, a bear cat?
Yeah.
So I think that's the point of why cops come heavily armed and dangerous to somebody with a gun, that they don't know what that person's intent is. But if James weren't with us right now, I do think that his parents would be taking the state police and the Keene police and anybody else they could find to court right now. But I don't mean to bring that up. I just had to. I think it's ironic that Ian called me rude. I think that if Ian Bernard had announced he was leaving Keene on July 4th, there would have been an even bigger July 5th parade than the one that you had. One that was in rain.
Okay, all right. A nice jab at Ian.
Don't you agree with me? Don't you agree with me?
No,
that was not only meant to be a joke.
No, of course not. There wouldn't be a parade.
Okay.
There would be people who would be very happy about it, and that's why I think it's a funny joke. But no, I don't think there would be a parade.
Can I go back to the reason why I actually did call?
Yeah.
Because the last time we actually had a chance to talk to you.
Yeah, and here's a hint. If you're on live radio, just talk about what you want. Just go ahead and do it.
word. That's what I always try to do. But I do, again, I keep on making fun of your friend because he likes to have his finger on the dump button because he doesn't like being ambush interviewed.
Well,
but
it says more about
himself.
you. It says more about you than about him or me. But go on.
It says a lot about you, but I'll compliment you that you seem to be willing to engage with somebody that, fair warning, never calls in to wax you or to stroke you, but to challenge you to think a second time.
I got thick skin. So what you got to challenge me with?
Well, back to the thing about the men in black that took over Mosul. I never got to actually respond to your question about why don't I go over there if I'm so worried about it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that begs the question as to that I'm able-bodied. What makes you think I haven't been there? What makes you think that I'm not in a wheelchair and that I had an IUD blow up on me? Point is, my follow-up question to that is, so do you think that only somebody maybe between the ages of 18 and 40 that are able-bodied, men and women, that could be conscripted to go over there? Are they the only ones that actually get a vote on whether or not we should be involved militarily, that is, in Mosul, which I actually do believe we should be?
Well, I don't think you should be up for a vote at all.
Well, I'm just saying the implication was like, why don't you go over there and do something about it, which I totally respect.
Yeah.
That's a good challenge.
I just meant more generally, like, why don't you take personal responsibility? It doesn't have to be go over there and fight. It could be, send Band-Aids. It could be send medicine or send money or, any other kind of support that you think. But basically, if there's some conflict going on in the world and it matters to you, then take personal responsibility for that. But don't sign
do something about it.
Yeah, but don't sign other people up for it. That's why I think it shouldn't be up to a vote, because I would vote against it, and I might be in the minority, and then it doesn't matter. People are still going to take my money and send it where I don't want it. So I think it should be up to personal choice, and I would encourage you and everyone to take personal responsibility to support that which you support with your mouth, support it with your word and your deed, and your money, and that's only my point. So are we on the same page?
Right. Well, for someone I agree with you. I do believe that the commander-in-chief of the U.S. military is a for real commander of a state-run army that does have the legitimate congressional rights to order troops into harm's way, whether you like it or not. That's a question. That's a much larger subject. But to respond to that in another way is, you do realize that these people do exist. They're evildoers, and Daryl earlier today in his show actually mentioned that they basically have their own country now. Those are his words, not mine. They have their own country now. Now, these people are the most anti-libertarian of mindset, of philosophy, of theology that you could possibly even imagine. In other words, if I were to throw you out of an airplane and you were to land in the middle of Mosul, live and well, and you were carrying a purse and wearing pink shorts, no disrespect, I don't care about anything that is trying to attract.
You're referring to my blog post from
No, what I'm what I'm referring to. The point is that I don't care who you're trying to attract when you do that in the lovely city of Keene, but if you were to do that in the middle of Mosul, you would find out that you have one life to live, and that life would be up. So they have their own country now. Now, these people don't mean to just stick it out in their own country now. They're heavily armed. Now they're very rich. They have an oil yard at their disposal now. These people aren't. They don't, and especially don't like people like you. No disrespect. They don't think you have the right to breathe. So that was why I brought it up on Free Talk Live, because it matters to me, because it should matter to you. And I shall, because I know you're running out of time, and I respectfully thank you for bearing with me. I'll just leave you with this thought. The reason why you have nothing to worry about while you're residing in the city of Keene, New Hampshire, and have kick-ass studio around you is because there's Portsmouth Naval Hospital, and there's a lot of other armed and dangerous military bases, and there's for the military service. So black in Mosul right now. You have nothing to worry about in the city of Keene. But people that want to live free like you do, that live in Mosul, that fled the town, like people who fled Paris when Hitler's army took it over, they are in danger. They need our help. And money and Band-Aids aren't going to help at all. And I shall leave you with that for thought for another day when I get to challenge you again.
Yeah,
Thanks for taking me on. Peace be with you, Derek.
Yeah, peace be with you, too. It's an interesting question. If you want to stay on the line, I have questions about your childhood.
I will.
Yeah.
I am.
What was your childhood like?
Happy.
I'm glad to hear that.
Prosperous. Why did you ask that question?
Well, I think it's a revealing question. You know, people's life philosophies often are based on what their childhoods were like.
Okay, let me put it this way. My childhood, I thank God for three things: my mom and dad and the family and friends that love me and I love. I thank God that I was born, baptized, and brainwashed Roman Catholic, and I thank God that I was born in the USA. That is what my childhood upbringing was formative in my worldview. Those three things: my parents, my religion, and my country. And again, to answer your question as best as I possibly can in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
I think that's great because it sounds like you are appreciative of the benefits that you were given in the lottery of life, and I share that view. I feel very lucky and fortunate that in the lottery of life I was given a supportive family as well. And
then you were born in America.
Sure. You're right. I may call it just Earth. You know, this part of Earth. I'm very
No, way. You can't morally equivocate, or I would call it immoral equivocation. You weren't born in Mosul.
Right. Yeah.
For some of your listeners that don't know where the hell I'm talking about.
Right. I just meant I'm grateful for the part of the Earth that I was born on. Not just any Earth, but you know, the exact part where I was born. I think it was a good place to be raised. And the reason I bring that up is because it's only people like us who can have these sorts of conversations and care about others and care about justice and care about the problems that are going on in the rest of the world. Because we've got our Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We've got some of those things taken care of. I would love to continue this conversation. I hope you call in earlier in the next episode. We will be live Sunday. I certainly appreciate you, caller, and anyone else can also call in. This has been Peace News Now. Check us out at peacenewsnow.com. We will be back Sunday.
The Shire.
All right, so we are now off the air, caller, and again, I do invite you to call in earlier next time so that we can have a longer conversation. Oh, seems like he has dropped off. So those of you who are still watching at home, I want to thank you for watching and listening. You can donate to the program by scanning any of the QR codes that you see on your screen. If you like the content that you get from Peace News Now, go ahead and kick us some Dogecoin, Litecoin, Feathercoin, or Bitcoin. We don't do Namecoin anymore. That stuff's sort of done. But we like Bitcoin, so support us, and many thanks. We will be back on Sunday. And I've got a bunch of uploads that are going to be going up to peacenewsnow.com throughout the week, so stay tuned for those. Peace.